What up, everybody? It's your homegirl, Miss T, back again this summer for another fun edition of Painting with Miss T. That's me. And for this year's painting, I wanted to stick with the theme like I usually do, but I wanted to make it just fun. Neon colors have been a huge part of our decorations this year. So we ordered these amazing neon colors. Everything came from Amazon, you guys, if moms and dads, if you're interested. One thing I can tell you guys though is I looked at the camera and I realized that the color is not even close to what it looks like in person. Like this pink, it is neon pink for sure in person, which you guys are about to find out. So I have a couple of paintings. This was the one I did a few weeks ago as a sample. This is the one that I actually just did today on this recording. And the reason I decided to paint first was because I wanted to just give you guys a heads up that these are totally customizable. You do not have to paint your characters and background the same color that I painted mine. You are free to use whatever colors on whichever characters that you like. So make it your own, use your imagination. I know you guys are gonna be awesome. And don't forget to have your parental units take a picture and send it to the library's Facebook Messenger page so that we can see your amazing artistic abilities for ourselves. And then real quick before we get started, I just wanted to do a little shout out for our adult and teen paint programs that are coming up. The adult program is going to be next Tuesday, July 11th. That program will be in person here at the library. I will be teaching that class as well. It's for adults only. And then the teen program will be 2 weeks, which I believe is July 18th. That will also be an online program, and the kits for the teen program will be available for pickup starting next week. So just keep that in mind if you've got some other painters in your households. But anyways, y'all don't want to hear me jabber. Y'all want to get to painting these awesome Pac-Man pop arts, right? All right, I'm going to move this one out of the way. I'm going to move that one also. We're going to grab out our kits. The first thing you want to do is grab out your palette. And all of your palettes should be wrapped in plastic. So you want to make sure to remove this plastic, you guys, because if you don't and you start painting, it's just going to slide right off, okay? So get mom or dad to use a knife or a pair of scissors and just take your plastic off. You can go ahead and pull all of your paints out of your bag. You're gonna need a few extra materials on hand, okay? You're gonna need a cup of water. This water is dirty because I just got done painting, but you'll need some clean water. You're gonna need some paper towels to dry your brush. Inside your bag, you've got your 6 colors, but then you also have these little stencils. You can go ahead and grab a pair of scissors and cut these stencils out so that they look like this. We will use these to trace out our characters, make it a little bit easier. If I got some of my older kids on here and you want to freehand it, go for it. You do you, okay? And then the other things you're going to need are a ruler, a pencil, and I said the scissors to cut out your stencils. But that's all you're going to need. Get everything out and set up. I'm going to rearrange this camera and we're going to get right into it, you guys. All right, kiddos. To get started, we want to create our boxes on our canvas. And to do that, we want to use a ruler and a pencil. Now, these canvases are 8 inches by 10 inches. And we want the boxes to be even, so we're just gonna divide those two in half. So we'll take our ruler, we'll match it up on the end, and then we'll put a little dot at 5 this way. I like to do it on the bottom also. That way I have my 2 points that I can connect. Makes it a little bit easier. Keep a straighter line. And then on the side, looks like these might actually be just a tad short of 8 inches, but we're gonna keep it at 4 inches just to make it even, an even number. We're not gonna break down into little fractions, decimal points and stuff. So now that we have our 2 dots, we're just gonna connect them together, and that will be the first part. Okay, now that we have our 4 boxes, we are going to put down our stencils and get our Pac-Man characters outlined. For my painting, you can see I put Pac-Man up here in the corner, and then I did my ghosts. I'm actually gonna do the same thing on this one, but you are welcome to put your Pac-Man in whichever box you want, surrounded by your other ghost. So I'm going to just lay Pac-Man on the canvas, and then with a really light hand, I don't want to make a real dark line because I want to be able to cover it up with the paints. I'm just gonna trace. Okay. And then I'm gonna repeat with my ghost on the other 3 boxes. Okay, now that we have our stencils down, we get to do the fun part and start painting. Now, just like with the placement of your characters, you are more than welcome to paint your characters any color that you like. I may do different colors for my ghosts, but I am gonna keep my Pac-Man the same color, the traditional yellow. So I'm gonna open up my yellow pot, and I am just going to be dipping right into the paint pot because we're not mixing any colors this year. I didn't include a plate in your kits, so just work right out of the paint pot. Easy, easy peasy. So I am gonna put a little bit of paint on my bristles, and then I am just going to start using just the edge of the brush. I'm gonna start with the outline. And if some of you don't have a real steady hand, you are more than welcome to use your small detail brush to do the outline first and then come back with the big brush to fill it in. whatever's easiest for you. Just make sure you have fun with it. And I'm not really sure why I like to do the out first. I guess something even I did when I was a kiddo like most of you guys. I used to love to color with coloring books and crayons, and I would always start with the outline. I would go through and outline everything really dark with the crayon or the colored pencil, and then when I come back and color in, I would use a lighter hand so it would be a lighter shade. And I don't know what it is, but that's just kind of how I always did my coloring growing up. And so now that I paint, I still kind of like to do the same thing, is to do the outline and then go back in and fill it all in. I feel like maybe it helps me stay inside the lines better, but that doesn't always work, because there are some times where my hand slips and I'll still go outside of the lines, especially when you're painting. So I think the big thing is just to take your time, not to be rushed. Aren't these colors cool though? So excited when these came in and I started playing around with them. The brightness of these neon colors is just so cool. So now that I've got this character all filled in, and I did leave it a little thick around the edge. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera, but because I want it to cover up that pencil line, so I did leave it a little thick. But I also, once this layer dries, I'm actually gonna come in with a second coat. It would be fine with this one coat, but I want it to really pop off the canvas, so I will come back and add a second coat to it. But I wanna let it dry first. So we'll move on to our next one. So I'm gonna rinse my brush, and I'd like to show you guys a little trick. When you're rinsing your brush in your bowl or your cup, you wanna make sure that you are rubbing the bristles back and forth in a circle on the bottom of your cup, because if you're just in the water like this, it's not gonna clean your bristles, and then you're going to put this color into your next paint pot, and then your colors will get all mixed up. So make sure to rub the bottom of your cup when you're washing out your brush, and then you wanna pat it dry. And then I'm actually just gonna scoot that color out of the way, and I'm gonna bring in my next color, which I believe for this one, I want to do green this time. But same thing, just gonna get a little bit of paint on my brush, and I'm just going to outline this ghost and then fill them in with the paint. Like I said, you guys do not have to be using the same color as I do. You can pick whichever color you like for this next ghost. Now I may actually switch to the small detail brush to do the little curves down bottom. So let me finish up the top part of the ghost. And again, I'm making it a little bit thicker on the outline just to cover up that pencil line. And don't be stingy with the paint, guys. I mean, I don't want you to have big, huge globs of paint on your palette, but I do want you to use plenty of paint to make sure you have a nice, bright colors. Okay. And I'm probably gonna have to do 2 coats of all the colors, just so they're nice and bright. Okay, I'm gonna stick that brush in the water. I'm gonna pick up this small detail brush. I'm gonna wet the bristles. I think this one's a new one. I don't think it's even been used before. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go in with a little bit on the tip, and I'm gonna use it to carve out these small little squiggly lines down here at the bottom. Now some of the older kids may be able to do this part with the big brush. That's totally fine, guys, but that's just another option for you guys to have a couple different brushes to choose from in your kits. Go back and fill it in. When you're doing small little areas like this, you just want to use smaller movements with your brush. And like I said, just take your time. There's no rush. Okay, and there is our first ghost. And I'm gonna clean that brush off real good, scrub it on the bottom of my cup, and I'm just going to set it to the side. I'm gonna scooch this green paint out of the way. I actually popped the lid back on it. And then I'm gonna come back with my big brush. And for the next ghost, I am going to do orange. Same process. Just going to start with the outline. Keeping it a little thick around the edge just to cover up that pencil line. And I have noticed with the orange paint, it seems to drip a little bit more. Well, actually, I see the green paint drip too. But that's okay because we're actually going to paint over that when we do our background. So I can show you guys what to do if that has happened to y'all. Let me finish this real quick. I'm kind of in the middle of it. It's something I've kind of learned over the years of painting. Because it does happen. You know, even for Miss T, who's been doing it for a long time, still have accidents sometimes. Things don't work out the way they're supposed to.
this orange paint, even though it's the same brand as the other colors, it just seems to be a little bit more runny, so it drips more. But man, these colors are so vibrant. I don't know if you guys know this, but Miss T, when I pick out a painting for these programs we do over the summer, I usually try to stick with the theme. Not always when it comes to like the adult program painting, the adult painting program. Sometimes I'm not able to find something that fits with the theme, but for the children's, pretty much, you know, like last year was Ocean of Possibilities, and we did the jellyfish, and then the year before was Tails and Tails, and we did, I think it was a teddy bear, or a monkey. I did a monkey with his little tail. You know, we did a space program a few years back, and we did the alien that glowed in the dark. You know, so I like to stick with the theme if I can. And when we decided on 80s, we knew that we were gonna have to get some neon paint. And I am so glad we did, because these colors are so cool. And I can tell you guys a little trick. Now, it doesn't, these colors won't glow in the dark, but if you do have a black light at home, you can shine it on this painting, and this painting will glow in the black light, and it looks pretty cool. Maybe I can show you guys that at the end. Okay, so there is my second ghost. Just putting a little extra on the outline where I can still see the pencil mark, and I can still see it down here because I didn't use that small detail brush, but I will go back and I'll be able to put it on a little bit thicker with that smaller brush. But let me show you guys this little hack before we do the next ghost on how to get this paint that has splattered. It may already be dry, but maybe not. So I'm just gonna rinse my brush off really, really well. Make sure your bristles are nice and clean. And then I like to dry it, and I don't know why. And then I like to go back in with just a little bit of water, and then you just kind of, so it might already be dry. Oh no, it's coming off. So you just kind of take your paintbrush and just kind of scratch at the paint that's there that you don't want there, and need a little bit more water. I'm actually going to clean my brush off just to make sure any of that orange paint that I did pick up, that I'm not just spreading it around to the other areas of the canvas. And this also works if this were to happen, like if I were to drop some of this orange paint on my green ghosts, as long as my green had dried first, I should be able to come in and just, using this little wet bristle, get these little pieces off. Now, I'm not too worried about these being here because we're gonna cover up the background anyways. That's just a little trick I wanted to show you guys. So if you ever have a little oopsie daisy while you're painting, just maybe remember that. All right, and for my last ghost, I think I'm going to use the blue. So I'm saving the pink and the purple for the background this time. I'm opening up the blue. repeat. So I knew this painting would be somewhat easy, especially for the older kids in the group, but I knew with these amazing neon colors it would be fun. And who doesn't love Pac-Man? I mean, come on. Like a little piece of something coming up there. Something you guys have probably learned if you've done these programs with me before, when I get quiet, I'm concentrating. And apparently that's just one of the things I can't multitask at. So when I'm concentrating on painting, I apparently forget how to talk at the same time. So sorry for the silence, but hopefully you guys are keeping up with me and you're having a good time. I really love when you guys share your paintings with us. So when we are finished with today's project, hopefully you will get your moms and dads to take a photo of you with your awesome painting and send it to the library's Facebook Messenger so that we can see your beautiful creativity. Especially for those of you who like to kind of do your own thing. I love to see how creative you guys can get. So I'm just going back in with the bigger brush now to help kind of smooth it out. I did notice when you use the small brush, it does leave more brush strokes. So these actually don't look too bad with one coat of paint. And if you guys are happy with the way it looks, by all means, sweethearts, then just leave them the way they are. I want mine to be a little bit brighter, so I am gonna go in and do a second coat on all of these. But I will do that off camera, and then I will come back and we'll do the background together, okay? Guys, Miss T made a oopsie daisy. I pushed the wrong button, so I thought I was recording me painting the background, and I had actually turned the iPad off, so yay. But pretty easy. You guys have already painted your characters. Now you got to do the background. I chose to do the pink and the purple. I did do 2 coats of each color, and it's still a little wet around the edges where it's a little thick. But the last thing we have to do, so you guys may want to pause the video if you still need to do your background, which you probably do because I skipped that whole part. My bad, you guys. And because next all we're going to do is put our eyeballs on all of our
characters, and then add a couple of these little dots around the background, which are the little dots that, you know, the Pac-Man eats. Waka, 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 you know, as he's going around. And so I am not very good at drawing circles. And actually, I just looked, and their eyes are more oval than circles. So I'm just going to real lightly with a pencil, I'm just gonna do like a little outline. Now the ghosts have pretty big eyes. So, and yeah, I am not very good at this, but that's okay because we're gonna paint over it. Not really the straightest eyes, but again, once I come back with some paint, I can kind of fix it. So this is just kind of giving me a little guide to go by. So that one needs to be a little bit longer. Okay. That one looks pretty good, minus, you know, take out all the stuff in the center, which I may try to erase that. And I actually did their eyes backwards. It actually should be white and then a black dot in the center. So, because they're ghosts. So they're gonna have different eyes. Okay, and then Pac-Man himself, oops, and I just put my hand on that line. So be careful if your painting is wet anywhere. So to draw his eye, I'm gonna turn my painting this way. And I'm just gonna put a little eye right there. His eye is circle, is more round, and it's not as big as the ghosts. So now, using my white paint, get my brush a little wet. I'm going to fill these eyes in, and may need to do a couple coats of white to cover up these bright colors. I was able to straighten that one out pretty good. Let's hope I can keep this other one pretty even. Okay, not the straightest oval in the world, but I think it's gonna do. So I'm just going back in, I'm kind of loading my brush up and just kind of tapping it to deposit a lot of paint, and then just try to
spread it out, but still keep it thick at the same time, if that makes sense. I feel like I am gonna have to go back and do a second coat, but I'm just trying to make this first coat a little bit thicker. Okay, moving on. Go ahead and dab on a second layer on that one as well. Moving on to an orange ghost. I really do hope that you guys had fun with this painting. Like I said, I know it was a little bit on the easier side. Especially if you use the stencils, but Pac-Man was very iconic in the 80s, and neon colors were very iconic from the 80s. Pop art was very popular in the 80s. So I tried to combine all of that together to stick with the theme, but also make it fun for you guys, which I think we could have painted anything, and using these cool neon colors just makes it so fun. For any of my adults hanging out in the background with their kiddos, if you are interested in having a little me time, we are hosting an adult paint program next Tuesday here at the library. I will also be hosting that. So I'll basically be doing what I'm doing here. I'll just be doing it live with you guys here at the library Tuesday evening. So that's next Tuesday, starts promptly at 6 p.m. and it's for adults only. So if you're looking for a little me time, just to get out, it shouldn't take us, but we should be done by 8. We'll be doing a really fun picture, and if y'all want to use these fun neon colors, you can, but I will have other paint choices on hand as well if you're not into the neon. And then for any older brothers and sisters that are over the age of 12 who were not able to participate in this, we have a teen painting program. It will be the following Tuesday, so 2 weeks from yesterday, and it will also be an online program. So the kits for that will be available for pickup starting next week. So just going back over, making this white a little bit thicker. And then we're going to let that dry a little bit. If you want to bust out the blow dryer, you can. I'm going to, because I'm working on a time crunch. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of heat, and then we'll come back and put. Now that I've put a couple of coats of white on all of the eyes, and I actually went ahead and did the white circles,
Again, like I said in the beginning, these neon paints show up much brighter on a white background, and that's why I went ahead and put the white paint down first. And now I'm just gonna come in with my black and my detail brush. And Pac-Man just gets a small little circle in kind of the center of his eye. And then the ghosts are fun because their eyes are the only thing that move. And so, like, if you can see on this one I did before, like this one's looking down, this one's looking up, this one's looking to the side. So you guys can put your little pupils in your ghost eyes to make it look like they're looking in a certain direction. So I think on this one, since Pac-Man's over here, I'm gonna have this ghost looking this way. So to do that, I'm just gonna put the circles, the black centers, on the left side of the circle. Instead of right in the center, put them closer to the left side, and then it makes it look like he's looking that way. And then the orange one, I'm gonna make him look up towards Pac-Man. So we'll put his in the center, just more towards the top. And by doing this, just that extra little detail kind of adds a little bit more dimension to your ghosts, makes them actually look like they're looking at Pac-Man. And then I kind of want to do this one like he's looking up to the side. I just don't know if it's going to look right. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. And if you guys are curious, you can wait and to see what mine looks like. But, so it's going to be closer to the left side and more up towards the top. So, yeah, it kind of makes him look like he's looking up at Mr. Pac-Man. Okay, and this black is pretty, it's a pretty pigmented black, so I think one coat for their little pupils is good. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is come back in with my yellow and just go over all of the white dots. And I kind of got a boo-boo there. But yeah, by going ahead and putting that white down first, it really makes this yellow pop. So I'm just gonna keep filling in all of my little white dots until they're all yellow. And then that is gonna be it for this painting.
my straggler up here.
All right, guys, that's it. All done. What y'all think? Did you have fun? I had fun. I did it a couple times and I really enjoyed it both times. These amazing paints, man, they just make painting with them so much fun. And like I said at the beginning, I know you couldn't tell, but now that you have your creation in front of you, was I right about these neon colors? Aren't they amazing? Yeah. Awesome. So before I wrap it up, just wanted to remind you guys to please return your brushes. It's easy. All you got to do is put them back in the bag that they came in and just bring them back to the library. You can drop them in the book drop. You can bring them into the desk. You can bring them with you next week when you come to the end of summer party. Gosh, y'all, I just cannot believe that it's already the last program next week. We've had so much fun this summer and kind of hate to see it come to an end, but you know, that's life. So don't forget to have your parents take pictures of these and send them to us. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next week. End of summer bash. Bye, guys.